Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Blame It on the Stars, where we give you an inside look at what's going on in the universe so you can blame your problems on the stars. It is Jade here.
And it's Kara.
And this week, we'll be talking all about Venus entering Virgo, the solar eclipse in Virgo, and Mars entering Scorpio. But in case you missed it, last week we talked all about Mercury in Libra, which does also technically happen this week. So if you want to know more about that, then definitely check out last week's episode before diving into this one.
And just to give you a heads up, next week we will be talking about Libra season and how it affects you.
And with that being said, let's dive into the episode. So the first thing we're going to talk about happening this week is Venus entering Virgo. This will be on September 19th at 8:39 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And per usual, the date and time are from the website astroseek.com. What you need to know is that Venus in Virgo will shift the focus in relationships, finances, and creativity towards being more practical and being more of service. One thing that's worth mentioning is that Venus is considered to be in fall in Virgo, meaning that it doesn't really have its best ability to express itself. However, though, Venus in Virgo will have an impact when it comes to paying closer attention to details in your relationships or your finances, and you'll be more likely to find ways to make things more efficient or problem solve.
How you will feel. While Venus is in Virgo, you're going to feel more thoughtful and intentional in the way that you connect with others. Instead of focusing on big gestures, you might notice yourself supporting others in small, more practical ways, like being helpful, offering support, or just being present. At the same time, you might notice that you're feeling a little bit more critical of yourself and others. This can motivate you to uphold high expectations or standards for yourself and in your relationships, but it also can feel heavy. If you notice that you are really focused on things that need to be fixed, improved, or even changed, it's really important that you balance that energy with patience and compassion so that you can feel grounded and connected.
Where this will show up in your life. In your relationships, you might start focusing on ways you can improve communication, routines, or shared responsibilities. Financially, this is a good time to budget, declutter, and invest in high quality items that will serve a purpose. And creatively, you might feel more inspired to refine your work or learn a new skill that's going to improve your craft.
What will become important to you? During this transit, you're going to be more focused on efficiency and reliability. You'll really appreciate people who follow through on their word and show up when it matters the most. Practical support, as mentioned before, is going to be really important, like helping someone get something done or just really being there, actively listening to your friends or coworkers if there's something that they need to vent or express. Those actions, which can sometimes be overlooked, are going to be more meaningful than ever. It's more about consistency and being there for others in the small moments.
If you're wondering how long this lasts, Venus will be in Virgo until October 13th at 5:19 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, when it will enter Libra.
And per usual, certain signs are affected more than others. The signs that are most affected by Venus in Virgo are Virgo, Pisces, Gemini, and Sagittarius placements. By placements, we mean Sun, Moon, Rising, Mercury, Venus, and or Mars placements only.
And since this is a Venus transit, certain rising signs are more likely to find love than others. And those rising signs will be Pisces rising, since Venus will be in the 7th house of relationships, and Taurus risings, since Venus will be in the 5th house of romance, and that is rising sign only. And there are a few key dates you're going to want to pay attention to. These are the aspects that Venus will make as it moves through Virgo. Starting off on September 20th, Venus will square Uranus, which could cause some unexpected changes when it comes to relationships or finances. There could be a bit of a restless energy that could lead you to want to make impulsive decisions. So try to use this day to find a productive outlet for yourself rather than creating chaos.
And then on October 3rd, Venus will be opposite the North Node. This can really bring out tension between your comfort zone and growth in your relationship or even at work when it comes to networking. This also could show up as an important interaction or moment where you realize you have to let go of what feels comfortable in order to choose something that is more aligned with your future goals and plans.
And then on October 8th, Venus will sextile Jupiter, which does make for much more of a lighter, optimistic energy. So this is a really great day for connecting with others, being social, or just enjoying life.
And then on October 11th, Venus will be opposite Saturn. You might feel some distance or heaviness in your connections on this day. Saturn is all about setting boundaries, so you might notice that this is a time where you need to uphold boundaries that you set or respect the boundaries of others. It's not necessarily the easiest day, but it can help you to focus on the things that really matter and create a solid foundation in your relationships.
The next thing happening this week is the solar eclipse in Virgo, which will be on September 21st at 3:43 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. What you need to know is that eclipses bring powerful new beginnings and are often in areas where you've reached a point of needing a fresh start. So being that this is in the sign of Virgo, this can center around routines, health, organization, and problem solving. So you might feel called to make significant changes to your habits or the way that you manage responsibilities.
How you will feel. Eclipses can bring about a very intense and unpredictable energy, and this one might bring up feelings of urgency, like you need to fix everything or suddenly change up your routines and habits. It's normal to feel a lot of pressure around the time of the eclipse, but try not to make any big or drastic changes in the moment. Give yourself some time to really process things, maybe create a list or journal about some changes that you think you would like to implement, and then give yourself some space before you make any final decisions. Again, eclipse energy is very unpredictable, and you want to give yourself some time to process all the things that come up before you take action.
So where this will show up in your life, this could show up in your work environment, your routines, or how you organize your daily life. This could also show up as wanting to make shifts in your health and wellness habits, any shared responsibilities, or even in relationships, specifically when it comes to ways that you can be of service to others and care for others.
What will be important to you? The most important thing during this eclipse will feel like being efficient, taking care of your health, and putting energy into the things that are the most meaningful to you. You might not have as much patience for distractions, and you're going to want to really hone in on the things or habits that make you feel your best.
Certain signs will be affected more than others by this eclipse, and those signs will be Virgo, Pisces, Gemini, and Sagittarius. Personal placements only, so Sun, Moon, Rising, Mercury, Venus, and or Mars placements. And there are a few aspects to this eclipse that make this just a little bit more interesting, starting off with the fact that the eclipse will be conjunct Mercury, which could put more of an emphasis on communication. So pay attention to any important conversations that are happening on this day. There could be some announcements or realizations that can set your next chapter into motion. and also pay attention to just how you're communicating with others, what the news is telling you, etc.
Another aspect to be aware of is that the sun and moon will be opposite Saturn. This is a more tense energy, and it can bring up feelings of responsibility or restriction. It can push you to finally come to terms with something, or it could be finally making an important decision that you have been putting off. Because Saturn is more focused on the long term, it can feel difficult now, but ultimately it will help you to build stability for the future.
Also, the eclipse will be trine Uranus, so change can happen quickly and unexpectedly, but in ways that will open new opportunities. But it's going to be important that you just embrace the flexibility during this day.
The sun and moon will also be opposite Neptune. This can create a very foggy and confusing energy. You might notice mixed signals or even catch yourself getting lost in all of the different possibilities. It's a good day to check the details and also find a way to either record or explore the different ideas that come up. Some of those ideas and thoughts might be worth pursuing once the eclipse energy is over.
And lastly, the eclipse is trine Pluto, which can make for a possibility of deep transformation and a sense of renewal. Since this is a solar eclipse, which is a new moon, which is more so about setting intentions rather than letting go, the aspect to Pluto might still encourage you to create some space so new things can take place. And the last thing we'll be talking about happening technically in the wee hours of Monday morning next week, the day that Libra season begins, will be Mars entering Scorpio. This is on September 22nd at 3:55 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. What you need to know is that Mars in Scorpio will bring a very determined, strategic, and persistent energy into your life. So you might feel a really strong sense of motivation to tackle big projects, solve complicated problems, or make any progress towards long-term goals that you've had for a while.
How you will feel. While Mars is in Scorpio, you're going to feel more motivated and focused. You also might notice that you are more protective over your time and energy, wanting to focus your effort into things that are really important and meaningful. Scorpio is a fixed sign, so when it comes to the actions that you're taking and your motivation, you can expect to be very committed to the goals that you set and the things that you are working on.
So where this will show up in your life, this transit could bring momentum to the areas of your life that have felt stagnant. This will be really good for helping you push past any obstacles that have been in your way for some time so that you can start making lasting changes.
What will become important to you? During this time, you're going to value persistence and strategy. You're going to be moving very intentionally and want to commit your time and effort into things that really feel important to you. This is a time where you're really focused on long-term goals, especially because you have the drive and motivation to see the bigger picture.
If you're wondering how long this lasts, Mars will be in Scorpio until November 4th at 8:01 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, when it will enter Sagittarius.
And again, certain signs will be affected more than others. The signs that are most affected are Scorpio, Taurus, Leo, and Aquarius placements.
And there are a few key dates you're going to want to pay attention to. These are the aspects that Mars will make as it moves through Scorpio. Starting on September 24th, Mars will be square Pluto, which can be a really challenging energy. There can be some high pressure situations that may arise. The energy will be feeling rather intense, so it's best to just avoid any unnecessary conflict and just focus on constructive action.
And then on October 15th, Mars will be trine the North Node. You might notice that this is a good day for making progress and feeling motivated. There's a possibility that new opportunities could show up, ones that you may have been waiting for a while or just happen at the right time. It could feel like something's just meant to be.
And then on October 28th, Mars will be trine Jupiter, which will bring a very strong burst of optimism and confidence. So it'll be a lot easier to take action and make progress towards your goals on this day.
And then on October 29th, Mars will be trine Saturn. This is a very positive day for taking disciplined action. You'll notice that it's easier to stay focused and make steady progress towards your goals.
And then lastly, on November 3rd, Mars will be trine Neptune, which is a more softer energy, but it will help you channel your drive into any creative or spiritual projects that you're working on. And that is it for this week's episode. Just a reminder, next week we'll be talking all about Libra season. So if you want to know more about what's going to happen then definitely make sure wherever you're listening to the podcast that you're subscribed with the notifications turned on so you don't miss when we post next week. But until then, that is all for now, and we'll see you all next Monday. Bye.